One, the Chief Operating Officer of ABLE, Dr. Suresh Narayan, Shri Amit Kapoor, all other dignitaries joining us on this program, both from India and abroad, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am truly impressed with the size and scale of growth that your work, Dr. Swaroop, and your team have demonstrated in the last 2 years since I first had the privilege of interacting with those young startups at the AeroCity complex. I have very fond memories of that evening. I think the vibrancy that was evident that evening, the excitement that I could see across that large pandal, the enthusiasm of our young boys and girls was quite infectious. And I must compliment you, Dr. Swaroop, and your team for your leadership of this activity. It's not simple. It's a new field, uncharted territory, a lot of learnings, a lot of stumbling along the way, but the results are truly phenomenal. As against a target of 2,000, you just informed us you've crossed 4,200 startups in this sector. The $70 billion output contribution to the GDP slated to grow up to 150 billion by 2025, including 100 billion in manufacturing, truly gives you a phenomenal potential in the future. The 5 selected products that you have launched today are reflective of the contemporary thinking that you and your team are engaged in. I mean, each one of them is so relevant to us in today's times, be it the vaccine distribution at the last mile, be it the prosthetic hand. We have millions and millions of our citizens who are suffering from losing their limbs. We have organizations like the Jaipur Foot, of course, giving human service. But something like what you have shown, the multi-grip 3D printed device, if it can be made to scale and made more affordable, it can actually be so precise as to not create an artificial limb, but almost a real limb. That's the level of precision that technology can bring into it. Both, all the 3 other devices, whether it's the wastewater treatment and sewage device, whether it's the device which helps medical monitoring of patients, or the device which gives location of surgical instruments. All of this are reflective of India's own Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign to become self-sufficient in modern technology, particularly in healthcare, and going forward, ensure that 1.35 billion Indians get a better quality of life, get better healthcare facilities. And as they say, when you combine bioeconomy with the digital and information economy, you get biotech. And I think that will truly be the defining moment for India's future economic growth, for India's engagement with the rest of the world, and demonstrate India's capabilities as a powerhouse of innovation, invention, and research. Biotechnology has potential to really push the boundaries of high-tech research and new technologies. And I think the team that you have put together, I was just glancing through the report that has been released today, the Bioeconomy Report 2021. It shows that you have addressed several very critical issues, including issues relevant to our farmers, the agriculture sector which impacts the people of India the most. You have looked at products like cotton, which impacts agriculture and textiles, the largest job creator in the country, the largest foreign exchange earner in the country. So I think this kind of contemporary thinking, coupled with the good work that we saw during the COVID pandemic, will help nurture that spirit of inquisitiveness, which is there in our children, but which just needs to be harnessed, encouraged, and given the necessary support. I think the need of the hour is to engage more and more with rural India also. A lot of talent lying there. The translations, the language capabilities that your department is trying to bring about to help people in different languages whose mother tongue may be different, who may not be well versed with English, but may have good ideas, will help us to really bring together the best that India has to offer. Of course, all innovation has to be affordable. All innovation has to be accessible to the larger masses and should have a significant impact on society, on our lives, make the life of people easier, what Prime Minister Modi often refers to as ease of living. But from what I see, the focus of your team and you personally, Dr. Swaroop, I'm very impressed with your efforts, with the work that you're doing, and I pledge the industry ministries and commerce departments complete support in whatever way we can, either to support our startups or to promote our technologies internationally. We can work with the MEA to get these technologies more visibility at international fora. We can even look at special fairs to showcase the outcomes or the outputs of the startup ecosystem to other parts of the world. But clearly, you have helped position India as a global biomanufacturing hub through your relentless efforts in the last few years. So my compliments to your department, to your ministry, and it's very appropriate that when we say that 40% of all the startups are led by women, that a woman of substance, of eminence, like Dr. Renu Swaroop, is leading this effort, showing the world the strength of our mothers and sisters. Truly proud of you and your team, Renuji. Keep up that spirit. I've always found that in you. You also bring with you a lot of empathy and a lot of involvement with our young startups. That's the impression I got 2 years ago when I came for your program. And I think that's very important because ultimately our startups need to be encouraged to experiment, to go beyond the run-of-the-mill thinking. We need to ensure that our startups are not afraid of failure. In fact, I for one believe the country should celebrate failure because it's only when somebody fails, I read somewhere, he knows how not to do the same thing. So in some sense, failure also has its own importance, particularly in research and innovation and invention. And therefore, the advancements that your sector is making, the biotech sector, making the impossible achievable, helping us to be recognized all over the world, helping get investments into the sector, ensuring that, as you just now told us, technology propellers, which will serve and impact these startups, will be set up, and manufacturing zones, M zones, which will provide a headway or help these startups which you are incubating to get the initial fillip to implement their ideas on the ground and possibly test them and help make them more commercially viable. I think these are brilliant ideas. I'm delighted that Invest India and DPIIT have also been actively involved with you. Thank you for starting the PDC, the Project Development Cell. I'm sure that will help us to come up with significant targeted support for your sector for any good ideas that they may come up with. And it is this synergy between the private sector and the government which will truly be an enabler for the startup ecosystem in India. You really cannot have great innovation and invention coming up only through government initiative. We do need to have all sections of business involved, but at the same time, government should act as an enabler, as a service provider, as a support to the ecosystem. And for that, your dashboard and tracker approach, I'm sure will help the startups going forward. Reports like the one we have released today will keep getting regular updates on progress made for the people of India. And I do hope this knowledge sharing that you are doing will encourage more and more young boys and girls to become entrepreneurs, to become innovators, to involve all the stakeholders on one platform, to get states also actively engaged. All of these ideas will help us transform India to a true Atmanirbhar Bharat based on indigenous technology. I salute all the young startups for their ingenuity, for their forward-looking thinking, for the good ideas that were demonstrated to us today also. I'm sure the professional approach that this entire initiative has demonstrated over the years will add the sixth dimension to the work of particularly our healthcare sector or the doctors. I believe the doctors have 5 existing dimensions for decision making, such as symptoms, events, history, habits, and reports. To my mind, biotechnology will put together all these dimensions and create the layer of the 6th dimension and help different sectors in different fields, more particularly healthcare, to truly become the instrument of service to meet the needs of 1.35 billion Indians. My best wishes to you, ma'am, your entire team, and to all the people who have joined us, all the young startups who are actively involved in this Global Bio India 2021 Conclave. I wish you and your team all success and do hope to see more and more growth and progress, newer versions in the years ahead, newer technologies which will serve this country and ensure that whatever be the challenges that come before the country, we are there to face those challenges, to convert those challenges into new opportunities, and our young boys and girls, our startups, our young professionals, our innovators, thinkers, our scientists will be at the cutting edge of technology worldwide, will be at the forefront of India's development, and will ensure a better future for our children. God bless you and your efforts. All the very best. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much for your encouragement. And on behalf of the entire biotech community, I reassure you that we will take this journey forward and continue to look forward to your cooperation, sir. Especially those 2 very important points that you mentioned. One is showcasing them internationally. We need a lot of your support, sir, to set up these international fairs and be able to showcase them. And also through the PDC to reaching out to the states. So thank you very much, sir, for your presence. Hafsa, over to you to conclude this inaugural session.
Thank you so much.